Tony Makes. My name is Callie, and today I am so excited to share with you my cinnamon swirl loaf cake. So this recipe is completely out of this world. It's almost like a cinnamon bun made into a cake. It is so delicious, it's moist, it's fluffy, it has just the most perfect texture. You are absolutely gonna love it, and I can't wait to share it with you. But before we begin, as always, please remember to subscribe, like, share, chat in the comment section, and follow me on social media for more recipes and additional content. So let's get to it. The ingredients that we're going to be using are some brown sugar, granulated sugar, all-purpose flour, a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, baking powder, a couple of large eggs along with 1 egg yolk, vanilla, salt, buttermilk. Here I have a little bit of cinnamon sugar all mixed together, and I have some neutral oil. I'm using canola oil, vegetable oil will do the trick, whatever you have. So let's get to it. First things first, get your oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, because once your ingredients are all prepped, everything else comes together really, really quickly. So let's start by combining all of our dry ingredients, so our flour, our cinnamon, our nutmeg, our baking powder, along with the salt, which I'm adding right now. I'm just gonna grab my whisk and give this a mix until it's nice and well incorporated. Okay, this looks great. So let's set this aside momentarily and get our dry or our wet ingredients together, which includes both types of sugar. Into this, I'm going to add my neutral oil, and between the neutral oil and the buttermilk, you should have no doubt in your mind that this cake is going to be incredibly moist. Sorry if you don't like that word, you just need to bake more and you'll get used to it. But this is just such a lovely cake. It's so simple. So I'm going to mix this until it is nice and well incorporated. Okay, so next up come our eggs along with our additional egg yolk. And I add in that additional egg yolk because it's just gonna add extra richness to this cake, which is always welcome. So let's get this nice and combined. Okay, this looks wonderful. So we're gonna add in our dry ingredients along with our buttermilk. I don't know if you'll ever find me making a cake without buttermilk. Maybe sour cream, but definitely buttermilk. So I don't want to leave any of that behind. And we're also gonna add in our vanilla. We're using a good amount of vanilla in this recipe, a good tablespoon or so. And I'm gonna give this a whisk to combine. Okay, this is looking great, but before we proceed, I just want to switch over to my spatula and just give it a good scrape around the bottom and the sides of the bowl just to make sure all the ingredients are well incorporated. So I'm going to clean up and I'm going to grab my pan and then we're going to finish this up. Okay, so I have my loaf pan here that I just sprayed with some nonstick spray. Butter will also do the trick, and I lined it with some parchment paper just to ensure nothing sticks. And so next, we're gonna add about half of the batter. Just eyeball it, it does not need to be perfect. So we're gonna add about half to the bottom of the pan. Okay, that looks great. So next, I'm gonna grab this cinnamon sugar mixture that we've set aside, and I'm just going to pour it all over this bottom layer. And it's gonna look like a lot, but just trust me, when it bakes, it's gonna get nice and kind of ooey gooey and like with the center of a cinnamon roll. It's really delicious. So just add this all over. Okay, so now that this is added, we're just gonna take the remaining batter and just pour it over the top. And you know, you could go back later and spread it out with the spoon if you feel like some of the cinnamon sugar is exposed. If some of it is still exposed, don't worry about it, but I think just pouring it over like this, you won't have any problem with that. So just take your time. Okay, now that the batter is on the pan, what we're gonna do is kind of give this a little swirl to give it that marbled effect when it bakes. And so to do that, you're just gonna grab a knife, this is really simple, and you're just gonna make a little squiggle like this through the cake. And you want to make sure not to over swirl, although it is very tempting because it is really satisfying making that swirl. Because if you over swirl the cake, what's going to happen is you're going to lose that swirled marbling effect altogether, and it's all just kind of combine into, you know, one big kind of mess. It's still going to be good, but it's not going to be very pretty. So just, I would say one quick kind of swirl and then stop. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 50 to 55 minutes, and you'll know when it's finished once you insert a knife or skewer into the center and it comes out clean or with a few crumbs. And then we're gonna make a really delicious vanilla glaze that we're gonna add over the top, which is super simple and is really gonna give this like cinnamon roll vibes. It's absolutely amazing. You're gonna love it. and I'll meet back up with you then. Okay, so we are back. It took my cake about an hour or so to bake, a little less than an hour. So again, check on it at the 50-minute mark, and it might need some more time after that. Everyone's oven is different. Some ovens are hotter, some are colder. So it all just depends on that as far as how long it's gonna take to bake the cake. But next, let's move on and make the icing. So the icing is really simple. We have a little bit of powdered sugar, vanilla, and some milk, cream, anything you have will do the trick. And that's it. So it's really, really simple. So we're just gonna add in the milk and the vanilla. And you know what, honestly, this cake is really good just how it is now, but I like that extra little something to top it off with. Okay, so this is looking perfect. It's silky, it's smooth, it's ready to go. So I'm gonna set this aside. And next, I'm just gonna take a spoon and just drizzle it like so all over the top, and look at that. It is gonna be so good, so delicious. I just cannot wait to cut into this, and you're absolutely gonna love it. So I'm gonna keep topping off my cake, and then I'm gonna give you a close-up of just how moist and fluffy and delicious and swirled and marbled that this cake really is. Okay, so I hope that close-up was helpful, and I hope it gave you a better idea of what the interior of this cake looks like and just how soft and fluffy and moist and just absolutely divine it is. And also, while I have your attention, if you like this cake, which I am confident that you will, you're certainly gonna love my no-knead cinnamon roll recipe, so be sure to check that out. I'll put the link for that in the description box below. And as always, for the full written recipe and instructions, head to my blog, mooneymakes.com. I'll put the link for that as well in the description box below. Click on the link. The recipe will pop right up, and make the cinnamon swirl loaf cake. I promise you're gonna love it. And let me know what you think, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.